The exhibition yesterday between the Detroit Tigers and the Dominican Republic WBC team was about as epic as we could have hoped for, with the DR throwing up 12 runs through the game's first 6 innings, with an absolute barrage of extra base pop and electric relief pitching. But there was actually something even more notable that took place during their single biggest frame in the fourth, when we witnessed a pitcher get beat up worse than we had ever seen before in an MLB-adjacent context. Seriously. But let's work our way there. The night began in about as good a way as possible for the Tigers, who saw their #1 overall prospect and the #2 prospect in the game in general, Kevin McGonigal, crush a first-pitch fastball 461 feet to right field off of legit MLB starter Luis Severino. That ball left his bat at over 110 miles an hour. The lefty would then add a 2-run single the very next frame, pushing his team's lead up to 3-0 at the time, contributing to what would end up being a 3-for-3 night with a walk. If this guy's not up in the big leagues by mid-April at the latest, I'm going to be extremely perplexed. But it was here that the wheels started to come off a little bit. The DR would tie things up in the bottom of that frame after Ketel Marte launched a sacrifice fly to center field. Then, after the Tigers wrestled back the reins for a moment with a Riley Green sacrifice fly that scored, you guessed it, McGonigal, we would come to our highlighted frame, when Brant Herter took the hill. The funky lefty had already struck out Austin Wells on 3 pitches to end the third, meaning he was going to face the Dominicans' 9-1 and 2 hitters. And things would not begin well for the sinker baller, with Geraldo Perdomo singling off the glove of Zach McKinstry. This is really where the onslaught would begin, with Fernando Tatis Jr. launching a double off the wall in left field to tie the ballgame. That left his bat at 110 miles an hour. Ketel Marte would follow this with an absolutely searing line drive of his own, this one at 109, though Max Clark was able to make the catch in center field. This brought Juan Soto to the plate, and he managed to deliver the first home run of the night for his squad, a 431-foot missile to right field that left his bat at 107 miles an hour. He would mercifully retire the next perennial All-Star, Vladdy Jr., on another rocket to center field at 105, putting him 1 out away from escaping, with the game still being relatively close. But he would be able to do no such thing when Manny Machado laid into a slider on a 2-1, elevating it over the wall in left center for another long ball. This one was, however, just 103.8 on the exit velo, so I guess there was a small victory in that. The final nail in the coffin for Brant came just 1 pitch later, when Junior Caminero hit the only opposite field blast of the inning, a 406-foot shot to right center, at 107.8, making the score a now much more unapproachable 8-4. This would be the end of the night for the sinker baller, who would depart for righty Brandon Hanafy, who managed to retire J-Rod shortly after. Still, when it all was said and done, Herter had thrown 1 full inning in this one, while giving up 5 hits, 5 runs, and 3 homers. Now, the stat line might not seem all that notable in the history of the sport, but it's the metrics that can be found within that are so novel. You see, since we began tracking these things with StatCast back in 2015, there has only been one other outing where a pitcher has managed to register at least 25% of the batted balls they allowed to be over 103 miles an hour, while giving up at least 5 instances of this, being Brian Flynn in 2018, who allowed exactly 5 in just 17 pitches, making it 29% of the total offerings he made. In Brandt's outing, he threw 22 pitches and gave up 6, which actually is a marginally worse rate of 27%. But here's the thing, Flynn only gave up 3 hits and 1 long ball in his outing, whereas Herter allowed 3 homers and a double on these assorted Rockets. So obviously the production was higher, but it wasn't just dumb luck or something. The average launch angle Brian gave up was 10 degrees, which is roughly around a ground ball. On the flip side, the Tigers lefty instead operated at nearly 20, which is right in that launch angle sweet spot zone. This was, in no uncertain terms, the most extreme beatdown we've ever seen on a field containing MLB players, at least relative to sample size, and I guess it shouldn't have been all that surprising, considering the Dominican lineup he faced is full of superstars and future Hall of Famers. As for the rest of the game, the Dominicans would tack on 3 more in the 5th when Tatis Jr., Soto, and pinch hitter Carlos Santana all laced RBI singles. One final tally would come across in the 6th when Jeremy Pena, another replacement, which should just show the depth of this team, managed to go off the right field wall for a triple with the guy on first. The contest would conclude with a 12-4 final, allowing the entire world to see how insane this DR squad really is, setting them up to have a strong run at winning the entire tournament if they can manage to take even a portion of this output into their relevant games. Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.